Hello all, welcome to lectures of Power System Operation and Control. We are discussing Unit 1 Power System Stability, and in this lecture we are going to discuss what are different methods of power system stability improvement. These are learning outcomes for this lecture. At the end of this lecture you will be able to retrieve some of the concepts of steady state and transient stability, typically mathematical conditions. We will also understand what are the different actions required for transient stability improvement, and you can classify stability improvement techniques as per levels. So these are typically stability conditions for steady state and transient stability. Though there is third type of stability, that is dynamic stability, our focus in this lecture is only on these two types. Now what is steady state stability? Steady state stability, conceptually you can understand its medical analogy is always with very small disturbances in our body like viral fever or cold. We can have a medicine from medical, we need not immediately visit to doctor, and our body can re-heal, our body can regain its original position uh, even after small actions. So similarly, whenever system is having some small disturbance, then that typical condition, and after that small disturbance, when system regains its original position, it is called as a steady state stability. So mathematically, the condition for steady state stability is dp by d delta, which is also called as a stiffness constant, rate of change of active power with respect to power angle delta. So that must be greater than 0. So this is mathematical condition for steady state stability. Now for transient stability, you are already aware of this. Transient stability situation occurs only when there is some large disturbance in the system, and this is always equivalent to a heart attack to human body. You have to rush to doctor. Similarly, you have to take very quick actions to avoid any disturbance in system, or to lose your synchronism in the system. Otherwise your system will stop. Ultimate effect is stopping the operation of the system. So what is mathematical condition? Mathematical condition is d delta by dt, that is rate of change of power angle delta, is equal to 0. From these two conditions, you can observe this dp by d delta and d delta by dt is equal to 0. Here there is no role of time in steady state stability, but in transient stability, time period is very important. Now let us see what are the different stability improvement techniques for steady state stability. Now for steady state stability, we have already discussed our major focus is on dp and d delta. So it is concerned with insufficient damping of system oscillations. So there are some system oscillations present in the system, and you have to damp those. Now this damping is somewhat similar to your damper windings present in your synchronous machines also. Now ultimately the solution for stability improvement should provide optimum power system damping. Now there are three techniques which are existing right now in the system. So these kind of actions are taken. First action is use of power system stabilizer. So power system stabilizer is a part of excitation system for a synchronous machine, and what happens whenever, and it connects actually output of generator with the excitation system. So ultimately it is adding some type of damping torque in your synchronous machine operation to nullify the effect of negative damping torque, and your power system oscillations are damped, and with the help of that your steady state stability is improved. Now another technique is supplementary control of static VAR compensators. Why the word supplementary is coming over here? Because ultimate role of static VAR compensator is of reactive power compensation. But at the same time, if you can have some adjustment in their control actions, they can simultaneously help for damping oscillations in the system. That's why it is called as a supplementary control. Similarly, the case is with your HVDC transmission links. So these are the existing techniques for steady state stability improvement in the system, which will ultimately bring damping of oscillations, and the condition will be achieved that dp by d delta is greater than 0. Let us go ahead and see what are the transient stability improvement techniques. Before starting discussion of transient stability improvement techniques, let us discuss in a very short time what is the general diagram for our overall generation transmission system which is connected to grid. So here I have shown here I have shown this is your generator which is coupled at back with turbine. This is typically called as a synchronous reactance for generator. So this is your generator bus. There is presence of transmission line which is connected to infinite bus. Now where can fault occur? Fault can occur in transmission line, fault can occur at the terminal of the generator also, fault can occur at infinite bus, fault can occur anywhere in the grid. And ultimately transient stability checks your response of the your generator system towards that fault, and you don't want your system to lose its operation. So you always want your system to come back into its normal operation even after large disturbances. So this is ultimately the overall diagram, and from here you can definitely understand you can have actions at different level. So for stability improvement, you can take action at this turbine generator level, you can take action at transmission level, or you can take action at grid level. Now grid level actions are directly actions which are taken from system operations, system operators, like a control room, you are having a load dispatch centers. So those actions can also save your system from going into the instability, and your stability can be improved. So let us see these improvement techniques one by one. So what are the actions required for transient stability improvement? The different action required are, first thing is minimizing fault severity or duration. Now this I will explain with the help of again medical analogy. Imagine a person gets heart attack. Now there are two important parameters on which the safety of person depends. What is the severity of that heart attack, whether it is of first stage, second stage or third stage. Simultaneously it depends upon within how much time you are taking that patient into hospital. So there are two important points. One is severity of heart attack, simultaneously time period, that is duration. In a similar way, for a transient stability improvement, there are two actions in a single band are required. One is minimizing the severity of the fault, or minimizing the duration of the fault. Now duration of the fault minimization in the sense, either you can remove that fault from the system, or you can isolate that faulty part from the system. So those actions are generally taken at a protection system level. So I am not going into the details of protection system, but this is a general understanding. Whenever you are trying to improve your transient stability, the protection system plays a very vital role, and that's why some of the discussions related to breaker will also come. Circuit breakers will also come in our techniques. Now what is next technique? Next technique is increment in restoring synchronizing forces. Now this synchronizing forces, as we have discussed, even after disturbance we want to keep our system intact. Now these synchronizing forces are keeping your system intact. So after fault you should always try to increase your synchronizing forces, which will help to restore your system back to original position. And third point is accelerating torque reduction through prime mover control and or artificial load addition. Another point I want to discuss, all these techniques may or may not be applied simultaneously. So for some of the faults you may require multiple techniques. So but the condition is the application of one technique should not impact the action of another technique. So that is the typical condition in applying these stability improvement techniques. Let me go back to this and discuss something about accelerating power or accelerating torque. You must have already understood equal criterion and all these things. So here I have drawn a P delta curve, and here I have shown our normal operating condition, where here you are having this P mechanical, that is mechanical power. This straight line is mechanical power, and this is nothing but my electrical power, which is generally shown by a sinusoidal kind of shape. Okay, now our operating point is this, where our electrical and mechanical power are crossing each other. But what happens whenever there is fault in the system? Our power drops to some other power which is not having any cross section point with mechanical power, so ultimately we are losing operating point, and our aim is to bring back this power to original position. Here I have written a very famous equation, swing equation you can call it as, but we are not discussing that swing equation in terms of rate of change of frequency and all, not in terms of inertia. I have just written over here as accelerating power, which is difference between mechanical power and electrical power. Please understand, whenever a fault occurs in the system, your mechanical power remains intact because you are not taking immediate action in terms of opening and closing turbine valves. So your mechanical power remains same. Your turbine, your steam flow is same in turbine, and your generator is generating, trying to generate that much power. But at the same time, whenever fault occurs in the system, your electrical power demand in the system is decreasing. So ultimately, your demand is lesser than supply. So you may have accelerating torques and ultimately accelerating power in the system, and which is not desired. Now, what may be the actions taken? You can observe over here. If I want to reduce this accelerating torque, what actions I can take? What actions can be taken? Either I can play with this PM, or I can play with this P. Now I'll take a simple example, and for your might be a very silly example you may think, but I will show you what happens. Now you are aware of this 10 minus 8 is equal to 2. My action requirement is I want to reduce this 2 to 1. What I can do? I can either make this PM, that is 10, 9, so I can reduce PM, or I can increase my electrical power to 9, so that this 10 minus 9 becomes equal to 1. So from here you can understand, to to tackle with this accelerating power or accelerating torque issue, I should either play with mechanical power, I should either reduce mechanical power, or I should increase electrical power. So that is what we are discussing over here. Here you can observe the accelerating torque reduction can be done through prime mover control, where your prime mover turbine valves can reduce your mechanical power, or you can add additional artificial load in terms of some resistance, which is called as a dynamic braking. We are going to see that in further slides, and that will increase your electrical demand, and ultimately the imbalance between mechanical and electrical power will be reduced, and which will help to improve your transient stability. There is another concept here. You can understand this peak of this particular curve is nothing but your maximum power transfer, which is given by the equation EV by X in your power transfer equation. So another technique of transient stability improvement is always to improve or to increase amount of maximum power transfer. So that is also one of the techniques we can have. Let us start discussing these labels one by one. So as we have already discussed, some actions for transient stability improvement can be taken at a turbine generator level. Some actions can be taken at a transmission system level, and ultimately, if both of these are not able to improve your transient stability, uh, probably you have to take some actions which are very worst actions at a control room level. So the turbine generator level actions. Now it is very easy. Once the concepts are clear, it is very easy to understand. Turbine generator level actions, you can have a steam turbine fast valving. Now this fast valving, this fast is related with time period. We have already understood for transient stability improvement, very fast actions are required. So this will help. High speed excitation. Now, yes, another concept, whenever fault occurs in the system, your reactive power demand increases because your protection systems are taking action in such a way that your active power demand decreases because your loads are isolated, but your overall reactive power demand in the system increases. Now, very basic concept, your reactive power is related with voltage. Voltage in the generator is ultimately a function of excitation system. So whenever fault occurs, if you take a proper action with the help of your high speed excitation, your transient stability is improved. So what is the another point? You can have a high speed excitation. A type of that, it's called as a discontinuous excitation control in some of the power plants in foreign countries. It's typically called as a TSEC, transient stability excitation control. So this is a kind of a discontinuous control. So whenever fault occurs, you can temporarily have some modifications in your excitation control, which will improve your transient stability. This is nothing but a kind of a part of your high speed excitation. And another thing is reducing active power generation. So now this is in a reverse way. If you are trying to take action from a generator side, there is a concept of load capability curve, which you are going to understand in your second unit, that is reactive power management. So ultimately, okay, I can explain you that with the help of some equations. Ultimately, you can understand your synchronous generator MVA S is nothing but P square, which is active power, plus Q square, which is reactive power. Now what will happen for the same amount of kVA or MVA, if you reduce this amount of active power, you can have a more share of reactive power, which is required for a fault, to supply. So more reactive power you can have, there will be improvement in transient stability. So these are the techniques, these are the actions which you may take at turbine generator level. Now for a transmission system level, very easy, high speed fault clearing. There are some breakers which are having action within the 2 cycles. So very fast action, your transient stability will be improved. Another technique is reduction of transmission system reactance. So how you can reduce the transmission system reactors? There are 3 methods. You can have an additional parallel transmission circuit. So you are already aware, in basic electrical engineering we have learnt reactance is a type of resistance. So if you add any resistance or a reactance in parallel, overall reactance of the system will go down. This is having direct relationship with your maximum power transfer, because EV by X, your denominator decreases, your overall value will increase. So your additional parallel transmission circuit will help in transient stability improvement. Series compensation of existing circuit, this is very important. You are adding some capacitor in series with the line, which will reduce your value of reactance, so that will be XL minus XC, ultimately reducing your overall reactance. But this is having issue as far as your there are some issues like subsynchronous SSR kind of things are over there, which we'll discuss in next unit of reactive power management. And the another solution is whatever transformers you are using, which always add to your system overall system reactance, you can use low reactance transformers. So that is another technique. These are turbine generator level actions, these are transmission system level actions. So now let us understand, not enough, there are some transmission system level actions. One of the action is reactor switching. Now this reactor switching always helps in transient stability improvement, because reactor plays a very vital role as far as your reactive power requirement of the systems are concerned. So these are the reactors which are present near the generator. In normal operation, they are connected to the system. But whenever fault occurs, you are switching out those reactors and transient stability improvement can be achieved. Another technique is regulated shunt compensation. We already discussed. It can improve the maximum power transfer. A dynamic braking, I already explained earlier. It results in reduced rotor acceleration by shunt resistance. So you are adding some kind of a resistance in the system, which will add some additional power requirement, reducing the gap between mechanical and electrical power. So your accelerating power decreases. Now, another techniques, there can be modifications in your circuit breaker operations, and instead of closing all your circuit breakers at a time, you can have an independent pole operation of circuit breaker. Part of that, you can have a single pole switching. Single pole switching, the meaning is many of the times in your system, the major faults are of a single phase, and if single phase fault occurs, and for that your circuit breaker is not having a separate pole operation, and at a time for a single phase you are opening all poles of the circuit breaker, it is unnecessarily wasting remaining two poles. So whatever fault occurs on a single pole, if only that pole operates out and remaining two poles are closed, you can continue your operation at a somewhat lower capacity. So ultimately this is localization of fault and keeping your remaining operation intact. So control of HVDC transmission links is also another uh, technique to for transient stability improvement. HVDC transmission links also play a very vital role in steady state stability improvement, and in HVDC you can have more scope for regulation of your reactive power with the help of proper controls. So it will definitely help to improve your transient stability also. Out of all these, if all these actions fail, then there are some other actions at system level where or a control room level where generator tripping. So you can trip your generator just to avoid any more damage to the system, or you can isolate the yourself from remaining system. So there will be a controlled system operation, kind of islanding, or you can shade the load. So once the load shedding is done, your system overall criticality becomes a bit less severe, and then you can have a transient stability improvement over there. So this is the last slide of my lecture. Uh, these are some suggestions. You can visit the link given below. I have created one Padlet related with subject power system operation and control. There are 6 different columns are present over there. So you can add your comment in the column of this particular unit, power system stability. I'm trying to create some concept wall kind of thing over there. So you can definitely visit just to revise quickly the concepts related to power system operation and control. And these are some of the reference books I'm suggesting for this particular topic. Uh, First one is IJ Nagarath, DP Kothari, Modern Power System Analysis, and next book is Bible of this concepts of power system stability and control, which is Prabha Kondur. So let us meet in next lecture. Till time, thank you. Goodbye.